It echoes across the valley from our city's football ground. Bradford are in the Premier League. Bradford are in the Premier League. Here we go. Third time lucky. Bradford City versus Wrexham pre-match chat. It's the apprentice in Kevin McDonald versus blah, 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 blah. Phil Parkinson, the master. So, let's get this started, Mr. Stan. So, what's your thoughts going to be on the game?
It's going to be a tough one. Did they win their last game?
I did think Wrexham won the last game.
Didn't they win it sort of like 3-2 or something? I think they'll be up for it. Park is obviously going to be up for it, and no doubt he'll devise a plan or something to to kind of get one over us. So I think it's probably going to be the toughest home game so far.
Yeah, it's going to be, because I know Wrexham like to concede goals and score goals. So it's going to be an eventful game, I think.
Yeah, saying that, when we played them there, it's 1-1. I mean, both sides have missed chances, I guess, but you'll have to excuse me, listeners, but I'm kind of eating my teeth. I don't know. I mean, would you go with the same side as last Saturday, or what would you do?
I would stick with the same team what we've got. Just looking at league table now, we're currently 11th on 19 points. We've won, lost, won. Wrexham are currently 5th, and they've lost, drawn, 1-1. But again, they've been conceding goals but scoring goals. So I'm really hoping the game does go ahead tomorrow. It's been absolutely peeing it down in Keighley.
Yeah, same here. Over my side of Bradford. I think it's going to ease off for tomorrow. I think. Did you? I didn't get a chance to listen to what McDonald said in the presser this week. Has he said anything of note for you? Or
I've not really heard it. I've heard bits and bobs, but I've not really watched it. I think he's. Let's see if Rudy Corbin's put something out. Jamie Rayner, see if he's put anything out on socials. Where are we?
I'm guessing he's playing his cards close to his chest with regards to what he wants to do in terms of the management role.
Where are we? So the thing what clubs tweeted out is about the pitch being okay condition as it stands.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully the drainage will keep up, because I think the German owner who was in before, not Roop, what's the other guy's called?
Hey.
Yeah, I think best thing he did about the club, I think, we're sorting the drainage out.
Right. I mean, this is the first sort of bit of severe weather we've had this season, isn't it? So this is a test of how the pitch, how it sort of plays tomorrow, whether it cuts up. Let's say what the drainage is like. I would imagine it'll do all on to get the game going. I think it's going to ease off a bit tomorrow. Let me just have a look at the BBC weather app.
So looking what Simon Parker's put out eight hours ago, from the quotes from Kevin McDonald, I do enjoy going to the coach's office and having a beer to relax afterwards. One of the best things about it. And Kevin McDonald in the importance of unwinding and acknowledging the hard work of the staff behind the scenes.
So yeah, I mean, he's not saying anything profound, I guess, but I mean, there's been some interesting managerial movements, haven't there? I mean, Rowett was sacked the other day from Millwall. It's generally a good manager. There's just something about him for me that irritates me. But then he's not my manager, so I don't know. I wouldn't be against him, but like I've said this in the past, I don't know who I want, and in terms of like who's in line for it, I think, like I said, they need to kind of keep with somebody that is going to tweak the team rather than just basically throw out the baby, etc.
Because he's saying Kevin McDonald's also looking forward to a tough game against Wrexham. He said that in his press conference, and the game should be a good occasion with over 22,000 fans in the ground. But no matter how many fans they are, our job remains the same: to go and win a game of football.
Yeah, standard stuff, really. It'll be a good atmosphere. I think generally they've been good games when we've had big crowds. Good from a neutral's point of view. So obviously we want it from a City point of view. So I'll not so fussed for the neutral side of things, but I think it's difficult to sort of say with regards to how we were against Wimbledon, because Wimbledon are a tricky side, and we did well and we rode as luck, but then we missed a couple as well. So I think if I remember from playing them Wrexham down there, was that their sort of centre halves aren't the most mobile. So if we got like Bobby, if we get the triumvirate of Bobby and Jamie Walker and any number of players up there, then I think we could cause them problems in and around the sort of turning the centre halves. What's your thoughts on that?
So I'm hoping he sticks with the same team. So the team was Lewis, Halliday, Platt, Stubbs, Rydhall, Gilliard, Smallwood, Poynton, Walker, Wilson and Cook. That's attacking team in my opinion. And the subs. Taylor, Osadebe, Doyle, Smith, Oko, Tulu and Afka, if I'm pronouncing names correctly. So that's a strong team against Wrexham.
Isn't Platt suspended?
That's a good point.
Five yellows.
That's a really good point. I'll have to see if I can find it.
With that in mind, who do you put in? I mean, I would be thinking the lad from Norwich.
Is he back now from international duty?
It depends when they played, doesn't it? So you probably won't play him actually due to that. So yeah, I mean, I'm not so sure about Ash Taylor, but I mean, you could play Kelly in with Stubbs if you're going to stick with the back four. Of the two, I'd rather have Kelly in there than Taylor.
Because one thing I'm just asking for the team tomorrow is the 22,000 fans in. Hopefully the game does go ahead because it's still raining. 22,000 fans in there. I don't want them to bottle it because most times when we've got big games, forget like Arsenal and stuff, when we've had them here and Arsenal, league games, we've bottled it under pressure. So I'm hoping it's different under McDonald, where the team like free-flowing football, passionate and all that, a lot again, charisma, dedication, and just get goals. Because like, I know Wrexham are classed as, so we say, a League Two team, but they've got League One players.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure we've bottled it though, especially last season. I mean, there were a couple of bad home performances, Northampton and Barrow and Stockport, but they weren't in front of the massive crowds. I mean, we beat last season. Did we beat Grimsby? We did, didn't we? So we won. We got crucial points with big crowds in back in the last season. So, I mean, I take your point. But I think the likelihood is that I don't think we will bottle it. I think it'll be a ding-dong match. Making prediction, even though I don't like making prediction, it'll probably be won by the odd goal.
Yeah.
Like ever. So yeah, I mean, what's your thoughts on like a Gary Rowett coming into the club if he were to take over?
He managed Millwall, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I've got a bit of a grudge against that when he were in charge when they scored to make it 1-0 in the, I think about like the 86th minute at Wembley to wreck my heart, and still been in therapy since then.
I thought it was Neil Harris who were in charge.
Sorry, Neil Harris. Yeah, I'm thinking of what's his name? What's his name? I'm thinking of wrong player. He's Middlesbrough, not Middlesbrough, Birmingham.
Yeah, Gary Rowett was. So he was Burton Albion, Birmingham. Has obviously been at Millwall. I can't remember where else he's been. I mean, he's been good enough to do okay in the Championship, but he's got sides out of League Two, I suppose. So.
So what's his name? Sorry,
Gary Rowett.
Rowett. Here we go. Manager. So Gary Rowett. He has managed Burton Albion, Burnham City, Derby County, Stoke, and Millwall.
So, did he get Burton to the Championship, or was that before him? I can't remember.
Yeah.
I mean, he did well there. Did all right at Birmingham.
So Burton in his first season, he led Burton to 4th place in League Two, losing in the playoff semi-final against Bradford City. Followed up with a 6th place finish in 2013-14 with a 1-0 defeat to Fleetwood in the playoff final.
Could have sworn he got them up.
So I was looking at it now. Birmingham. What happened in Birmingham? So he got sacked at Birmingham 14th of December 2016 upon change of ownership. So basically, it looks like he's been sacked wherever he's gone.
Yeah, I mean, a change of ownership, though, that's always a case of them coming in and bringing somebody else in or that they want. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I honestly don't know who's out there and who's any good. So, or it's not who's any good. Who would be good for us, I suppose. I mean, I'm not against Big Kev getting it, but Kev's too good a player at the moment to not play himself.
Yeah. It's like looking at Gary Rowett's percentage and stuff. At Burton Albion, he had a 44.4% win ratio. Burnham 39.6, Derby 43.3, Stoke 31.0, Millwall 38.8.
So he's had comparable to anything decent we've had over the last few years.
So if he does come in, he could do well. So do you think with the Wrexham game, do you think that'll be Kevin McDonald's final game, or do you reckon he'll crack on for another week until the Tuesday?
I think they'll still take the time. I think there'll be a lot of discussions between Sparks, Rupp and McDonald. You know, a lot of kind of assessing the situation and seeing, you know, sort of, you know, seeing how it all sort of pans out. I think because that will depend a lot on McDonald himself. Because if he's kind of, I mean, the team's doing well now, and if he's leading that team from the dugout, he may want the job, and he might sort of kind of have more of a. I think I'd heard somewhere where that's kind of what he was sort of saying, that, excuse me, that he almost was starting to like the coaching side to the point where he, if the right job came up, could see himself as a coach. So, yeah, I don't know the answer to, whether, because for me he's too good a player to not have in the side. But then if he basically gets us promoted, I don't care, if that's how it goes. From personality wise, he's a great guy. So he's a great guy to have as manager and to be around the club. What's your thoughts, Labib? We're just talking about Gary Rowett being sacked this week, and obviously with Big Kev. What's your thoughts on that? Would you accept, dislike the likes of Gary Rowett coming in?
Oh, here we go. Here we go. It should be connecting now. There we go.
Hi, chaps. You right?
Yeah, yourself, mate. How are you?
All right. Yeah, I'm all right. I tweeted this with another lad on Twitter the other day, and I think I said the same last week. I think me and Stan were saying the same thing. When a new manager gets mentioned or gets linked with us, or a new player gets kind of linked with us, most of the time I've no idea who they are. Obviously, I've heard of Gary Rowett, but of all the other names that have been mentioned, there isn't any that fill me with a massive sense of excitement, if I'm honest. Even the lad who's just gone to MK Dons, this Williamson chap from Gateshead, obviously he's doing well there, but none of the names that, as I said, that have been linked with us so far really stand out, I would have to say. Not to me, anyway. So I think I mentioned this last week, and I think what we're saying is exactly the right thing. Take your time with the decision. Lots of people said it's an important one to get right this time. So the pressure's on to make sure it's the right appointment. And I think the club have shown that they are happy to take the time. This will now be the fourth game for McDonald. So there seems to be no rush. The latest one, I think, that was linked last week was Graham Alexander. But, these are all guys who have managed in these lower divisions, which was always a criticism of Mark Hughes, who doesn't know League Two. These guys know it a little bit better. But, we'll get who we get, regardless of what us lot are saying. You know what I mean? The club will make the appointment they think is the right one, and it'll either work or it won't. Let's just see what happens.
I think that's correct, Labib. I think also as well. I think because
for my size, I'd buy it if it was my size. Mate. So what now? What now? Mate, what now? Yeah, now.
Oh, there we go. Done. See if we can...
I think I was just sort of saying, Labib, that I think it is a crucial one, because obviously they've gone through the whole gamut of managers from your Bowyers to supposed Adams, and Stewart for a third time, and then Hughes with his kind of high league pedigree, and I feel that it's almost like it's a bit. This is kind of a random sort of analogy, but it's a bit like Eurovision Song Contest. There's no formula for what sort of song wins. It's always something random. So similarly, especially of late, the seemingly is no formula in terms of the style, the fit of the manager, that's going to get us up because we've tried, various people. So it is a massive, massive decision, and like we've said, I think it's very crucial that they do take the time and that it almost becomes self-evident who is the right person forward, and you just hope that Sparks is maybe taking advice from somebody who has a bit of a football background, etc. So I think it is absolutely crucial that they take the time and and just sort of just basically don't rush into it. And if it transpires that it's Big Kev, then great. But yeah, what's your thoughts on Big Kev, Labby? Would you be happy with that appointment if it became an appointment?
Sorry, I'm just I've just popped a hot oven chip into me gob.
Oh yeah, I've just been to Chippy for supper because I got back late. So.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to go in a minute. Sorry, chaps, but
Don't worry about it. Nice to have you been on.
I've made this point before. I've got no issue if McDonald gets the gig. Really got no problem with it at all. Obviously, it's well documented that he wants to carry on playing. So he's still relatively young for a manager, but towards the end of his playing career. I can't imagine he's not played himself yet, has he? Has he played himself?
He played against Grimsby
in the Papa John's.
Yeah, in the trophy thing. But when it comes to league matches, when it's the bread and butter stuff, he's not played himself. So he's obviously putting the team first rather than his own kind of playing career first, which is to be respected. So I'd have no problem at all. I did make the point last week, we'll have to see how he reacts once we suffer a defeat. Because at the moment, it's been a proper honeymoon period, hasn't it? 3 games, 3 wins. So it's been, and again, he deserves a lot of credit for just changing our playing style and getting everybody firing properly, doing things I think we all knew we were capable of doing. So he deserves an awful lot of credit for that. It'll just be interesting to see how we react when it doesn't go our way, and how he can kind of adjust and react and pick the players up. So that'll be the true test of his kind of managerial ability. But personally speaking, I'd have no issue. I don't think he's any worse than anybody else who's out there.
What's your thoughts on it, Callie? If she can hear us. Callie? Callie?
Can you hear us, Kelly? What's your thoughts on what Labib's just said about Kev McDonald? Do you have any thoughts or opinions on that? Or with Gary Rowett being sacked this week, do you have an opinion on the potential appointment of Gary Rowett if it came about?
I don't think the godmothers... I think I've phone's messing up. Has anyone else struggled to join today? Or has everybody joined all right today?
I couldn't hear you at first. I don't know if you were just still setting up, but...
Yes, it's been 3rd time. Lucky I've been having a bit of technical issues today.
Right. Is there anyone else that has an idea of who they want in, or what's the thoughts on the next appointment? Anybody out there?
Let's try to find, have you got any latest betting odds on any players? Oh, the manager's joining.
I've not seen anything, but I've not been on the socials this week, so kind of feel a bit sort of behind the times this week. But is anyone going down to MK Dons on Tuesday night?
I would love to go, but I can't get it off work.
No, yeah, I've just bought a ticket today, so
I'll be watching on iFollow.
Yeah, because I don't know how they started. Have they had a game since a new appointment or not?
MK Dons, I don't think they have.
Is that the guy they got from Gateshead?
Yes, that apparently we were linked with him.
Yeah, the only thing with that is it would seemingly go against the grain of what the City fans were wanting, because apparently he's very possession based, and given that, obviously, as was Hughes for most part, especially last season, I'm not sure that would have been an appointment that would have been like business as usual, I guess. I don't know. Prior to McDonald. But yeah, so that'll be interesting, because it might be that the thing about possession football, or kind of building from the back, it works well when you got players that pass the ball quickly. And the trouble is that, especially at this level, they take one or two touches more than they need to, and then that moment is gone. And therefore, that kind of building from the back ethos slows down and looks ponderous. Whereas, I mean, we are talking like obviously top level, but when teams do it quickly, the whole point of it is that you're moving the ball about the pitch, and you're moving the opposition, and then you kind of find that opening. But you've got to do that with quick pass and movement off the ball. So that can always, sort of work at the top level, but maybe at our level we don't have the players that can pass it around quick enough. Are you? I see you're speaking now, Kelly. Can you hear us? Can you?
I could hear you before, but I don't think you could hear me. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. So
I've sorted it.
That's not the
I'll
example
ask
you've
a
got.
question about the next City manager then, and taking the time, and who would you sort of want, and what's your thoughts on maybe potentially Gary Rowett or Kev McDonald taking the seat?
I think we should leave it as is. If it's working, leave it as. Why break something if it's not broken, kind of thing? Do you know what I mean?
I do, yeah, because it's more a case of this squad really only needs tweaking, because I don't think it needs an overhaul.
No, I don't. And I think the players are playing for him, if I'm honest. I think they're doing what he's asking them to do, and they're winning games. So for me, I wouldn't change that if that's happening. Especially how our form has been previous to McDonald being in charge.
So on that, would you say that we talked about Paddy and Smallwood? Obviously, the thing that Paddy mentioned after the Wimbledon game was what was the difference, and he said clarity. But that's fine, but that shouldn't stop him running. And pretty much this season, I don't think he was putting a shift in.
No, and there's been quite a few players like that. We talked about this, didn't we, last week?
We did, and I sort of said that I don't think that was the case. But kind of looking at what's been said, I think they probably weren't putting a shift in for whatever reason, whether they had a disagreement with Hughes or whatever. But it's in every player's gift to basically run as hard and as fast as he can.
And yeah, and it goes back to that thing of playing with passion, wearing that shirt. They've got to want that. They've got to want to be part of the club, and I'm going back obviously to the olden days when I used to watch them as a kid, and we go back to the old players and such, like we did last week, and we mentioned Bobby Poynton, didn't we? How he's when he plays. He does play with the pride and passion because he's watched the club as a child and being a fan. I think there were some pictures on social media with him this week that I saw. So yeah, and I do think there's been a full change in all the players. To be fair,
yeah.
I mean Smallwood. Look how bad. I mean Smallwood were getting booed off the pitch at one point.
I genuinely thought his legs had gone. But I suppose my beef with that is that, well, if you've got a beef with the manager, that's between you and the manager. That's not a beef with you and the team and you and the fans.
No. and shouldn't affect the
it
team.
shouldn't affect his
Shouldn't affect the
performance,
game.
or at least not so much
No.
as every player will have a bad game. And the classic Neil Warnock comment, which is rings so true. Everyone is allowed a bad game on the ball, but nobody is allowed a bad game off the ball, and that just basically means working hard. Simple as that.
Yeah. But that's what they're paid for. Football players these days, I mean, obviously we're only in League Two. It's not the same as what the Premiership players' wages are as such. But I feel sometimes the play, or not so much now, because I think the team's turned a corner, they're improving, put it that way. But it felt like in the past that they're just playing because they're not bothered, because they're still going to get the wage at end of game, whether they win or lose or draw.
Yeah. I would say that. I mean, it happens in every walk of life and every kind of job, that even if it's the best job in the world, and obviously playing football is up there as one of the best jobs in the world. In terms of that, players do get stale, they do have issues. You know, the missus is feeling lonely because the player, you know, she doesn't know any of the other sort of wags and you know. But I actually spoke to a few years ago. I actually spoke to Nicky Law's girlfriend, and she felt isolated because obviously he's at work all day. She didn't know any of the others because I think they were living in Sheffield, so it's not like she had like a network of all the other wags that basically, you know, they could sort of have some kind of a network there. So she found it difficult, and so therefore you can imagine a player has that on his mind when he's at work, because we all have issues in life that kind of, so in that respect. But so you can kind of see it maybe from that point of view, but I suppose the one thing you can't forgive is not putting in an effort when you're running.
No. Not when you put that shirt on, nothing else should matter. That's just my opinion. I don't think. I mean, I know we're not. I mean, we do menial jobs compared to the money they get. I mean, not so much League Two teams, but they get more than we would normally get on a normal sort of working class paid job. But yeah, as soon as they put that shirt on, that should change, and they should want to go for glory, because that's what's sometimes being a sportsman, sportswoman should be. That's how it should be.
Like with tomorrow's game, Callie, 22,000 people in that ground tomorrow. If the game goes ahead, obviously it's absolutely selling it down all over the country. I just thought they got to bottle it.
Exactly, and that's why I get so passionate and angry sometimes, because I obviously drive up from Nottingham, and I'm not loaded with money or anything, but my luxury for me sometimes, some months, is putting 40 quid petrol in my car, driving up to a game, spending all day in Bradford, seeing my city family, and for me that's a joy for me to do. But then if that team come out on the pitch and act like they don't give a shit, basically, that's where I think, just a minute, I've just paid my hard-earned cash to come here and watch you run about on that pitch. Do you know what I mean? And that's where I get a bit twisted about things sometimes, as other fans would do. There's a lot of fans across the country that travel like I do.
Yeah.
Because with Callie, she travels from Nottingham, and it's like if you lose, it's like going home. It's horrible, isn't it, Cal? It's like obviously you
Oh my God,
come with Laney, and it's horrible. You come back, you don't dare speak to each other. You're waiting for someone to say something, but like on the other hand, you win, you're buzzing. I normally come home, get a
That's
Chinese.
it, and that is it. It's that buzz, isn't it? It's that actual buzz of, even if we don't win, even if it's a draw or a lose, if the players have put that shift in, it don't matter so much. It's when they don't put that shift in, that's where I have issues. And it's quite funny that obviously my daughter's only 14, but she's proper getting into it now, and she's like, oh, for God's sake, what are they doing? And she's kind of doing what I do. And if we win, we always make a point. We have to go in the service station on the way home just to take the piss out of the other fans, because that's part of the day. If we lose, we just drive straight home. We don't bother going in. But it's part of the banter, isn't it? And part of the the day out for us as such.
I think the that is best summed up for me, at least this season, was the contrasts in coming back from Crawley and coming back from Newport. You know, totally different games.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, obviously the outcome it's never the outcome. Obviously, you want them to win, but you just want, especially when you're travelling miles, is that you hope that they play well enough to at least have it be in with a
Yeah.
chance of getting something out of the game. Things happen in a game, mistakes are made, or the referee or the other team are just so good, but you just want
Of
the
course.
team to play well enough.
Just to do their best. That's all I ask. That they do their best in the shirt. We're not all. Sometimes we do have bad days at the office, don't we?
Yeah.
Like you say, sometimes we don't get that bit of luck that we sometimes need, or we get a shit ref, or there's all
Yeah,
sorts
exactly.
in there that can go wrong.
I mean, I think Crawley
Yeah.
had all three of them, all of
Yeah.
the above.
Oh my God, that first game at sea, that was just I mean, coming home on, even I were on sports coach coming home from that one, and it was just depressing. It's happening. It's just really depressing when you just sat there and everybody's in the same sort of mood, and it's just not good, is
No, I
it?
mean, that's kind of you know, that game had everything, but obviously after 2 or 3 weeks, a lot of the long ends to the half or both halves has kind of like settled down a bit. Whether the refs are not picking up on everything, or whether it's the players' behaviour.
That ref was the
Crawley,
worst
yeah.
ref I've seen in a long. I mean, we do get some bad ones, but even what's his name that we always hate when we get him?
Drysdale.
Yeah, it were even worse than
Do you know what
him.
though? Drysdale's been the best ref this season.
Do you know what he has
He
for
had
us? Hasn't
the
he? He
last game.
has.
I
He
can't
had a
remember
good
which game it was. Was it Crewe at home? But he had a really good game. And there were like one
Yeah.
or two minor decisions that you disagree on a minor level with,
Expect. Yeah.
whichever way he's called it. But he actually refereed the game well, and that's the first time I've seen him actually referee a
Yeah.
Bradford City game.
Because we all go on social media, don't we, beforehand, and it's like, oh God, look who we've got. But then it were like everybody were like, wow, what's happened?
Yeah, yeah.
So on the referee is a guy called Ross Joyce from Middlesbrough. He sent off 5 players in his last 4 games. He was in charge of last season's playoff semi-final first leg.
Right. Okay. I don't think there was anything too controversial in that first leg that I can think of. Well, saying that, I think didn't the Carlisle manager basically have to backtrack because he was sort of implying that the referee were giving Bradford everything, and
Yeah, I read that. I've seen that somewhere on socials.
and that genuinely wasn't the case, but.
And they saw it they saw it as a different game to what Bradford fans saw it, didn't they?
I mean, that's an interesting thing to anyone else out there as well, is your perception of your own team when you're watching them. Because when we played Bury pre-season, it was off of their it was televised off of their YouTube channel, so it was streamed live. And one of the co-commentator or the summariser actually said that Bradford were unlucky because he felt that we were the better team over 2 legs. Now, that would be interesting to watch the second match again, because as bad as we were, we did have moments where we could have won it as well. And the first half at home was a very, very good half, and you'd expect a side that's been up there like Carlisle for most of the season to, you know, have the ability to come back at you in the second half. What's your thoughts on that? You know, in terms of how other people see, basically how a neutral sees games. You know,
It's like with
I think Bradford fans are very, very fickle, aren't they? Very from what I've learned over years, and I think a Bradford fan can see it different to another Bradford fan. To be fair, I'll think, oh, he's done well there, and somebody else will say, well, no, he's had a shit game, and I'll be like, oh, really? So, like you say, you probably have to watch it again and see and look at it from a different perspective.
I would want to watch it. I would watch it in hindsight, but it's what goes down one of those games that I don't want to watch again as well. So, yeah. So what's your thoughts on tomorrow's game then, Kelly?
Do you know what? I've been thinking about it today, and I think Cookie's due a couple of goals. So I think they're going to be a hard team to beat, but I think we're going to be at home and they're going to have nearly short of 23,000 cheering them on. And if the crowd do really get behind them, I think we'll have a good game. And I'm sure we must be due a big win. And I don't know. It feels like tomorrow we're going to do it. I think we're going to have a big win at some point.
I'm not sure about tomorrow, but just because I think it'll be by the odd goal. I think it'd be too close to call. But I remember last season saying this myself and a few other people saying that the way that, because people could see that actually this has been the best City side we've had for a few seasons, obviously since before we got relegated from League One, and people were saying, one of these games, one of these days, this last season, we're going to give somebody a hiding, and it never materialised. However, I think if the team continue playing in that style as they are now, I think there is a potential to give somebody a hiding. I don't think it'll be tomorrow, just because I think Wrexham are too good. But sort of some mid-table team that is potential.
Yeah, but don't you think Wrexham are going to be coming tomorrow thinking, oh, we're going to whoop these? Do you know what I mean? And I think sometimes being overconfident like that, because they're doing well at the minute, it's time they were knocked off a little bit, knocked off the top spot, or knocked off the peg a little bit.
It's like with the football, like, so we say if we had Mark Hughes, people know how Mark Hughes plays. With Kevin McDonald, nobody knows how he plays. So I think tomorrow there's going to be goals, goals and goals. Wrexham like to concede goals, but they like to score goals. So I'm going to go 5-4 Bradford.
I wish I could say.
Do you know what, Johnny? I hope you're right. I really do hope you're right.
I wish I could say a score in 5. But I will settle. I will settle for 1-0. But yeah, I think it's going to be a tough. I think it's going to be a tough game. I think they will probably come with a view to a certain shithousiness to a certain degree, but then they have the players capable of not needing to as well. So I think we have to be at our best, and
we need to make sure McDonald's done his homework as well.
I imagine he has.
And I think to be fair, he's got it right, hasn't he, the last few, I think. Maybe not the first half of the last game we played, but second half he did.
Yeah, second half was an improvement last week, wasn't it?
Yeah. And we've got, I always get these two mixed up. I always get Parky and Jewel mixed up. I don't know why. But we've got a point to prove to him as well, aren't we, tomorrow? A little bit. Not a point as such, but we don't want him to come and get one over us.
More a case of that, isn't it? Like, because against when he came over with Bolton, I mean, that first half, I said to the week, I described that first half against Bolton under McCall as absolutely scintillating football. And and it's a word that I've not used in a long time myself. And it's all the joke is up.
We haven't had much to cheer about at all, have we, lately? We haven't.
Well, I mean, this season's been turbulent, to say the least. But but if you think of the foundations, I mean, whatever you say about Rope, etc. If people think that the players are good enough but they weren't managed, then that would suggest that there has been investment in the team from Rupp. or by sort of like through the club. So I don't think it's lack of investment. I think sort of like I was saying, a massive hangover from the Carlisle game, and what's happened has happened now. So
And then Hughes lost. I think he's lost the dressing room. I think as well, because the players have played. I'm not saying a lot better, but they've played better since McDonald's took over. And there's a lot of this say about the players have been able to play how they want to play and not being told to play a certain way. Isn't there? There's been a lot of that banged about at the minute.
yeah, but I suppose the one who's always going to go first. Obviously, the manager's going to go first over the players, unless your name's Fergie. But yeah, that's the reality of it, and I mean, what I don't understand is, I mean, unless things have been said over the summer or the players have talked to themselves, amongst themselves, with regards to whether they feel that something wasn't working, because, okay, we went to a back three, but we kind of started playing similarly to how we played last season.
Yeah, which weren't very effective. Not towards.
Well, it was effective enough, wasn't it?
It was to get us to playoffs. It just wasn't. We weren't scoring goals, though, were we?
No.
We weren't finishing.
Do you know the one thing I think changed last year, where we were dropping points at home, but as soon as Jamie Walker came back into the side after his long injury,
Yeah,
we
he
started
improved the team.
to pick up wins. Okay, we did drop points as well, in some games, but he seemed to be the difference. And the thing is about a player is you don't have to be, or it doesn't have to be so obvious, like running at players or this, that, and the other. Sometimes the way that they kind of move the ball forward kind of takes the team forward and gives you the options. And I mean, Jamie Walker is probably my favourite player, and obviously Bobby's up there, and so is Big Kev. Those are the players that can get the ball into those areas, and again, like when against.
And I do remember as well, before Jamie Walker signed permanently for us, I got inside information. I can't remember who it was. I'm not going to name drop anyway, even if I could remember. But he and his wife, you talk about wags and such, and his wife really liked the kind of Harrogate area, and she were like, you know what I mean? We want to stay here, and Jamie really wants to play for the club. And that, for me, is a player that wants to play for the club, and that's why he does well, and that's why he's a favourite with the fans. It all clicks into place, doesn't it? All the elements.
Yeah. You can't accuse him of not giving a shit and not trying. He'll have not as effective games, sort of like as he, some sort of like everybody has a dip. But I mean, I would say up to now, Jamie Walker's player of the season for me, and it's only by virtue of like Halliday not starting the first few games where he's just a bit behind, but he's been great this season.
And he's consistent, isn't he? Every game he's consistent.
He's a minimum of 7 every week, isn't he?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And Bobby Poynton's doing the same. I think he's coming across the same. He's got his place in the team, and I hope he has a good game tomorrow. But I'd like to see Cookie. See, Cookie's dropped off a little bit again, hasn't he?
Yeah, do you know? I think a lot of it is that with this change, the way that we've changed play a little bit, is Cookie's been a bit unlucky or maybe a bit frustrated with the fact that maybe other players have kind of taken a little bit off of Cook in terms of the pressure and themselves kind of being a little more advanced. Perhaps, I mean, we're only talking 2-3 games, but perhaps he's had fewer opportunities. I mean, like last Saturday, he didn't really get a sniff, did he, in terms of,
No.
But we did enough, and Paddy did, scored a good goal. But saying that,
And Paddy's not been near, has he? Paddy's not looked like scoring for a while.
Cook's header to Paddy last Saturday. So I'll take that back. But in terms of any kind of chance for himself, and that's not to say that Cook's played badly. It's just I think the way that the team is just shaped up a little bit has meant other players have maybe come to the fore a little bit. But yeah, I think. So what's your thoughts? What would you go on the same team, or would you?
Is Paddy's? Did Paddy's red card get
No.
took off him? So is he? He won't be. Will he be playing
Well, I
tomorrow?
think
Then?
it's only applicable in the in that particular cup, as I understood it, on the night or the day after when it was Jamie Rayner sort of said that. So
I would think that Cookie may be dropped tomorrow then, and Paddy on because he's in form at the minute, isn't he? So
yeah.
why would you not start him tomorrow?
Maybe starting, but I wouldn't. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't not pick Cook though, because he'll get you goals from nothing as well. So.
Yeah,
I was going to say last 5 minutes, guys.
I think that'll be a hard decision that for the manager tomorrow.
I think he'd probably stick with the same side. I mean, well, other than maybe Platt being suspended on 5 yellows. So, so I think the question is, does he put Stubbs in with Kelly over Ash Taylor or the other lad who's been on international duty, the lad from Norwich, Tomkinson? Is it Tomkinson?
Yeah, I think so. Can't remember. It's too late at night to think.
Yeah, yeah.
And Johnny, have you got a team sheet in front of you?
Team sheet. I can tell you the team who played last week.
So we're missing Platt.
So yeah, because you're saying Platt's suspended, aren't you?
That's my understanding of it. I could be wrong, but I believe, well, if not for tomorrow, then for Tuesday's game.
Here we go. So the team who started against AFC Wimbledon is Lewis, Halliday, Platt, Stubbs, Rydor, Gilead, Smallwood, Poynton, Walker, Wilson and Cook.
I don't think he's going to start. I don't think Cook will start tomorrow. I think Paddy will.
Because Paddy, Ossie Debe, he's a left winger, Callie, or a right winger. Yeah, right winger, because he came on for Wilson last game, 58 minutes.
Right.
So it won't surprise me if Cook starts. It won't surprise me if he sticks with that same team and then brings on Paddy later on.
What's happening with Alex Pattison? What's happening with him at the minute? Is he still injured?
I think he's got...
Was it a thigh?
Yeah, I think he's got the elastic band thighs. Keep pinging all the time. He keeps getting injured, doesn't he?
Because he was showing promise when he first came, wasn't he? But then obviously he's got injured.
Right.
Yeah, he's had a stop-start sort of campaign. I mean, he's been...
And we get that a lot with our team, don't we? We get people in and then we just get plagued with injuries.
Yeah, I think... I mean, I don't know what his injury record's like prior to coming over here. So I couldn't tell you, but I think there were, in my view, a few injuries amongst not just our team but other clubs because of the length of the games that were with all the time being added on, and the fact that it's either that or they didn't have the full match fitness, which can then lead to injuries because you basically your body's not acclimatized to playing at that intensity. So I mean, it's not every player, but you know it's one of those two really for me. But
it's a factor. Yeah. So what are you predicting for tomorrow then, Stan?
I don't like. I refuse to predict. because I hate predicting City games, and it's the only kind of almost superstition I allow myself. But
Yeah.
I don't like doing it because I get it wrong about 99% of the time. So if I predict we lose, then if I get it wrong, great. But
It's like betting, isn't it? I never
Yeah.
ever bet on Bradford ever. And if they come up on the Super Six thing, I'm like, oh my God, no. And I have to just put a draw because I don't want to jinx it.
I've done it. I've bet on it twice in my life, and I don't like betting on City, so I'll never.
No.
Well, I wish I'd have bet City to win 4-2 at half time at Chelsea.
Oh, yeah, that would have been, yeah. You'd have had a few grand out of that one.
Oh, yeah. But so what about yourself then, Callie? What do you think?
I think it's going to be, because I think we're going to do a big win. I'm going to stick with my gut feeling, and I think it's going to be about either 3-1 or 3-2. Probably say 3-2 because we never do it easy. Never do it the easy way.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take that all day, obviously. So yeah. I think it's going to be an intriguing game. I think tomorrow. I think it's going to be very, very tough.
I think it's going to be a fast-paced game tomorrow as well. I think it's going to be end-to-end.
Yeah, I agree.
If the pitch isn't slippy, because that might have a factor as well. But obviously, if they've kept the covers on, etc., it should be.
You might need to bring your armbands tomorrow, Callie.
I need them to get out of Hucknall. Trust me. That's my priority. Getting out of bloody Nottingham tomorrow. It's that bad down here.
Yeah, it's been horrible everywhere, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'll say I need a boat because I know that'll wind Johnny up.
You and your posh words. Callie's like, occasionally she brings out like boat and goal, you see. She comes out with posh words.
But then my Yorkshire accent will come in and it's boat. I need a boat to get up to game.
It's yes, correct. It's boat, not boat.
Right, guys. It's
Thanks.
It's that time again to mute Perrier. Thank you, Stan and Callie, and everyone else who has listened. Wherever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Thanks for listening. Thank you.
City till I die. I know I am, I'm sure I'm Bradford City till I die. Oh, Bradford City till I die. Bradford's made our day, and hey, it's gonna stay. The boys have brought us glory days. Hip hip hooray! So let's all rally round and really make a sound that echoes across the valley from our city's football ground.